Everyone, and welcome to the 2025-2026 Week 13 review, Week 14 preview. Joel, only 3 weeks left in the league. How you feeling tonight?
I'm feeling a little fucked up, to be honest, but great.
Excellent. I'm not. Congratulate me on going 2 weeks of being stone cold sober. Nothing in the system. 2 whole weeks. It probably changes tomorrow because, like I told you, I'm off and there's a full day of NBA. Kelsey's got to work. Ollie's going to be at her parents'. I'm probably going to a sports bar to watch the games tomorrow. But I did make 2 weeks. Kelsey asked if I could make it 2 weeks. I said no problem. I did it. I'm clean. 2 whole weeks. I was trying to think of the last time that I went 2 whole weeks, and I think it was after my concussion in 2018. I believe I went like 2 or 3 weeks where I wasn't hitting the pen or drinking because I had a concussion. So it's been a solid 8 years, not being sober, and I did okay. I think I made it. That being said, go ahead.
I have 3 words for you.
Okay.
What a bitch.
I appreciate that. You want to know one reason why I'm not a bitch, though? Because I am him. I am Dragon Slayer, Joel Gibson. I am your champion. I am the one that wins. I am the one that has protected the integrity of the league twice. You'll remember when Neiman went 15-1. Who was the one that beat him, Joel? Dragon Slayer. Kyle. He goes undefeated for 12 weeks. Joel, who beat Kyle? Let's just get right into the review. Dragon Slayer. He is him.
Oh, I don't like to credit you with anything ever. But you did do this without Joker, and you beat him 12-1. You spanked him. You whipped your dick across his face a couple times. It was ugly. It was gross. Yeah, dude, I mean, he's no Dragon Slayer.
He's no Dragon Slayer. I also did it without Reeves. I did it without Hartenstein. And I did it with only 4 ads as well. I thought I was going to have to use all 7, but I didn't. LeBron decided to play both back-to-backs this week as well, so shout out LeBron, just doing incredible things. He knew I was playing Kyle. Not that I needed LeBron tonight, but a couple key ads for me as well. Very excited with where my team is right now. And man, we are just going to continuously get better. Booker sat a game. Jay Will sat a game. He's also out tomorrow. I'm out here beating teams several men down, Joel Gibson. Y'all better.
12-1.
What's that?
12-1.
12-1. 12-1.
I bet you that Brandon's butthole is squeaky clean.
All right. Well, with that being said, Kyle moves to 12-1. I moved to 12-1. We'll both likely end with the same conference record. We'll both end the same head-to-head. He does have more points than me. I don't think I'm going to be able to catch him unless I have a couple really good weeks. There's 3 left. It is possible mathematically, but it's unlikely. So my goal is set on getting that number 2 seed, and I only need to win 1 of these next 3 games to guarantee that 2 seed. And I imagine at least one of them's going down. Next matchup is what I would call an upset. We have number 6, Eric, who is 6-6, against number 4, CJ, who was 8-4. Eric won. He didn't have to cycle. Like we talked about last week. Remember, we talked about that if he cycled and he could probably cycle him out. CJ out there making trades and whatnot. And I don't believe that he's 100% in on this season with no free agency money. But Eric winning here, I was a little surprised.
You know when you have a buddy who just keeps dating the same girl over and over again and it keeps not working out?
Yeah.
That's CJ Ross with John Morant and Dennis Schroeder. He's just taking both point guards to the face and then throwing them back out to the wind. I feel like he's had John Morant at least twice. and also discarded him twice. Dennis Schroeder at least like 3 times.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate for CJ. It never has worked out for him. Although I thought he got some value. I thought it was a good trade for both teams today. But I thought it was a tough L for CJ overall. Good win for Eric.
Good win for Eric. So, I agree with you. Lots of trades this week as well. I mean, I like that there's been so much trading last year when there wasn't a lot. I feel like a lot of teams are really starting to set this up. And I said this to you over text. I think there's a real possibility of next season 6, maybe 7 teams are legitimate contenders for the championship. I think it's going to be one of our most competitive seasons next season. And I think these trades are going to be one of the main reason why. I mean, it's been cool to watch. I feel like we're slowly forming into this like ultra competitive league at this point. After we got through me kind of just running roughshod all over everybody for half a decade, no big deal or anything. Next,
real quick.
Yeah.
And if there's 6 contenders next year.
Yeah.
At least one of them is tanking.
At least one of them is tanking, likely. Next matchup is Matt versus Adam. In my opinion, Matt had to have this in order to get into the playoffs. For obvious reasons we'll get into next week. But he did not have this. It was a very close... He didn't have it. There was no cycling from either side. Again, we were talking about the cycling. Adam won. It was a close matchup, but hey, a win's a win for Adam, and this was big, especially as far as seeding goes from him. But like I said, Matt moving to 3-10. Adam moves to 7-6, the same record as Eric at 7-6. CJ moved to 8-5. But just like we talked about, with no cycling, we picked Adam as well to win. At the end of the day, if you're not going to cycle, you're not going to pull any upsets.
Where do you have Adam now in your rankings?
I will tell you when we get there. I play him, so, next week. So we'll talk about that the first matchup of week 14.
Fair enough. My bad. I jumped the gun.
That's all right. The last 3 aren't really interesting anyway, so we can zip right through them. Steven loses to Doug, no kidding. Neiman and Cody go to a tie. Neiman technically wins this one because he's the home team. Neiman's trying his best to get himself out of the playoffs, but I don't think it's going to happen at this point. He picks up his 6th win, which basically means he has to lose the next 3. Matt has to win the next 3 for him to have any shot to get in. And then it'll come down to tiebreakers. But with Neiman sitting a bunch of weeks here, it's allowing Matt to catch him in points. So I think technically Matt would eventually win the tiebreakers should Neiman lose the 3 and Matt win the 3. Problem for Matt is he plays both you and Kyle 2 of the next 3 weeks. So, that's unlikely. Next matchup is you taking care of Jake. Jake's just sitting everybody, so he's a bye week. But he has only 1 win. He's the only team with 1 win. He controls his destiny as far as he not only has his pick, but if he finishes last, he'll guarantee himself at least the number 2 pick. He also has Matt's pick as well. So Matt getting eliminated from the playoffs is good for him. That will mean at least 2 of the top 4 picks for next year, and there's some solid talent out there as well. And now with Jake getting Morant, it'll be interesting to see if he plays in the consolation and see what this team can do, if you will.
For sure. I actually was semi-worried going into this matchup. I thought if I were Jake, who owns my pick, that may have been a weird way of putting that, but if you can follow.
Got it.
If I were him, I would have gone after me this year, or this matchup. There's no reason that he's not going to be a bottom 4 team, and if he could hurt my team and improve my draft pick on his team,
yeah.
I thought that was probably the move. That said, I was certainly not going to advise him doing such. So, as a super injured team who had some pretty bad games from some of my best players this week, I was pumped to see him not set his lineups. But I did not influence him to do so.
Right, and I'll counter your argument. I think he made the right choice by not going after you. The reason why I say that is if he had won, the next two people are Steven and Cody. Both of them have 2 wins. You do not want to get into tiebreakers when Cody's been sitting everybody all season, Steven's sitting everybody all season. You could really take your guaranteed at least a 2 pick and turn it to a 4 pick if you were to win that, and assuming that 9, who is Matt, would win the consolation. Now, Matt winning would also get him that 1 pick, but you want ideally to get last and Matt to win the consolation to get 1 and 2. That's ideally, or I guess theoretically, no. That would be the only way he gets 1 and 2 is if he's last and Matt wins the consolation. So I think that winning might have thrown some hiccups into it, and I'd want to guarantee myself at least a number 2 pick, especially in this draft. Beating you to move from 8 to maybe 6 doesn't do it for me. I wouldn't have done it.
Ask him tomorrow in the sauna when neither of us have, super clear brains, and we'll see what he says.
Maybe he just wasn't even thinking about it, and he just
probably wasn't. He's probably gonna be like, dude, I didn't think about that once. I'll be like, dude, I was thinking about it all week before.
All right, well, with that being said, week 13 is over. We have 3 weeks left of the season, Joel Gibson. And we're going to start next week with number 7, Adam, at 7-6 against number 2, Mr. Modest, at 12-1. Mr. Modest needs 1 win to clinch that 2 spot. I don't know that I'm going to cycle against him. Lucky for me, I play Jake in these next 3 games. So I think that I don't have anything to worry about. I have the tiebreaker with Doug. So I'm not, because I beat Kyle, I'm not overly aggressive about winning this game. I am going to set all my lineups, but I'm pretty banged up right now. If Adam wants to cycle, he could probably beat me. But this is a potential playoff matchup right now, because if it goes how I think, Adam's at 7, I'm at 2, this is going to be the first round matchup. So just something to keep in mind as well. I don't know that I want to show all my guns anyway. I'm going to pick me if Adam does not cycle. If he does cycle, I think he can get me this year. This week. I'm too banged up.
The way you just spanked Kyle, I am going to pick you, but looking at his team, I only see couple of flags, and so I think that does make it interesting. I'm going to stick with my gut, and I'm going to pick you, but I do think there is some potential for upset here.
Yep. Next matchup is, if mine isn't, this one's probably the matchup of the week, or at least the most interesting one. CJ number 5 at 8-5 versus Doug at number 3. CJ has no free agency money. He's away here. Doug, he's just been cruising, and congratulations to Doug. He got his 10th win this week, became the 3rd team to have 10 wins, so good for him. He's kind of been just cruising along, and I think that he wins here as well. I don't even know if Doug, I saw that he updated his trade block as well today, so I was kind of looking at that. But I think that he's just kind of coasting along, and he really hasn't had too many close matchups. So I'm going to assume that Doug is going to win this matchup. I don't see how CJ wins anymore without free agency money, especially if I'm Doug. I want to keep that 3 spot. He needs to win 2 of these next 3 to guarantee that 3. I think he does, and I think this is one of them.
I also am going to pick Doug. I think it's interesting you were looking at his trade block. I assume you were trying to pick up Jonathan Kuminga, and I hope it works out for you.
I was not, no. Next matchup is Eric versus Neiman. I don't think Neiman is setting his lineups. He's going to try to somehow hope that Matt can beat you and Kyle in one of the craziest end of the year runs of all time. But Eric's going to win this matchup.
Eric is going to win this matchup, especially if Neiman is not setting his line.
I have Eric at 6, and Adam at 7. The main reason why is because Adam plays me and Eric plays Neiman. So that's, pretty much the main reason. I think that Adam has the tiebreaker over Eric. So technically, if the season ends today, but if Adam takes a loss and Eric wins, it'll be fine. Like, my power rankings will be the same. I try to do it just based on record and the upcoming matchup. Next matchup. Go ahead.
I just want to say before we jump matchups, that with the trade deadline so close and with Neiman taking a different direction with his team, I think it's very interesting. I don't know that he's making a move, but I wonder if this is when he might be particularly aggressive. We've never seen him outright tank. And his team is not really built in a direction where it's all young or old players. It's kind of a mix. There's only, 42 hours less than from the trade deadline?
Yep.
And I'm just wondering if we see a more active Neiman than we've ever seen at the deadline. I could be wrong, but I think it's super interesting that he's deciding to sit all of his players right now.
Yeah. He did last week as well, as far as sitting them. But it is interesting to me. I think this is kind of the most life we've seen out of Neiman as an owner since he went on that run at 15-1 and then got bounced by the 8 that year. I don't know who that was, but I hear he was one sexy bastard that year.
Must have been me.
It wasn't. It was me. But I like to see life. I like to see that at least he's thinking about it. And I think you're right. I think that he's got a little bit of old, a little bit of young. He could go quite a few different ways. For me, I think if I had to bet, and I'm not giving advice, I think he's going to be looking more towards the future if he's tanking. He needs to find out, what he can do with Sabonis, what he can do with Embiid. Is there anything there? You know what I mean? There's a lot of tradable pieces. I just don't know that he's going to get back the value that you would expect based on the name. You know what I mean?
It's just a team that I am watching over the next 42 hours with some intensity.
Yep. And the next matchup now is extremely interesting and extremely influential in the consolation bracket. I know everybody loves how much I like talking about the consolation bracket because it's interesting to me. Steven is away, number 11, at Cody, who is number 10, the home team. And this will give, they both have the same record, 2-11. And this will give Cody the tiebreaker with Steven. Steven already has all of his players sitting. And it's a brilliant move, honestly. I don't know why he played anybody this week against Doug. I assume that he just understood that he had no chance against Doug. But he now has everybody sitting. This will basically lock Cody into that 10 spot with this win. Heaven forbid if Matt goes 0 for 3. I don't know the tiebreakers between Cody and Matt. I definitely have to look it up. But Cody could then move up to 9, and his first round pick could theoretically be only in that 4 spot. He traded Steven back his pick that could now turn into theoretically a 2. Depending on who wins, it could be anywhere from 1 to 3. Steven will have the better pick than Cody. And in my opinion, Steven then therefore wins that trade, in my eyes at least.
It's very interesting. Now that Steven has his own picks back, This was 100% the move. I would be really disappointed in Steven if he were setting his lineups now that he has his picks back for at least this year. It's a tough spot to put Cody in, and he should totally tank it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to pick Cody to win this matchup. He's got. I really should have looked up the tiebreakers between him and Matt, but I will do that next week because it's going to get interesting really quickly. For Cody, for sure. Next,
How many wins will that put Cody at?
3, same as Matt. That's what I mean. It is. It could be an absolute disaster tank job unless Cody. Now Cody got under the cap, and it's important for us to emphasize this. Cody got under the cap. He can now cycle without having to pay the tax to go to 0, and I believe he has like $13 left. So theoretically, that'll be enough for the championship of the consolation bracket, if you want to go that way. If you assume that he can win the first round without cycling, it's going to be interesting. I'm telling you, this consolation bracket this year, there are so many moving pieces, and it is awesome to see. It is awesome to see. I love it. It's so cool. I'm a genius for putting this into place. I'm a genius.
I'm not going to give you that credit.
All right. Next matchup is, speaking of Matt versus Joel. Joel, you're pretty beat up here. Matt's got to beat you and Kyle to even have a chance to get in back-to-back weeks. Not only does he have to beat you two, he has to beat you two in back-to-back weeks. I expect him to cycle this week. And, man, he might be able to pull it off if you're going to be so injured. I don't know. I don't know. He doesn't have his pick. Jake's rooting against him for sure. It is so
Jake have his pick?
Jake has Matt's pick.
Jake does have his pick.
Jake has Matt's pick. And so man, Cody and Jake.
Such a tasty pick.
I know. Cody and Jake literally need to get together and like do some sort of like "Go Matt Go" chant or something. I need to see everybody get behind Matt to beat you this week. I'm gonna pick Matt only for the chaos. I want chaos. I'm picking Matt.
I'm gonna pick myself. I'm pretty beat up, but a lot of Matt's team sucks. So I'm just gonna pick me out of gut instinct. I'm not super concerned. This is not my year. I have several guys that I feel like are in part 1 of 3-year development to get me to contention status. So I'm just out here having fun. If Matt beats me, great. If I beat him, even fucking better. Suck it, Matthew. But I think there is a chance that he could beat me. If he cycles me, which, fucking go for it if you want, brother. I ain't doing it. That he will beat me. But I'm gonna pick me.
Excellent. And then the last matchup is Kyle playing Jake. Kyle's gonna win this matchup. Jake's on setting his lineups. Kyle's gonna remain the number 1 seed at least for this week. But I just want to say, I love the chaos. I think this is so cool. So many different levels. Like even if you look at the winning side of the bracket, if you will, 4 through 8 are up for grabs. Well, 4 through 7 are up for grabs. I assume Neiman will be the 8th seed. Neiman versus Kyle will be interesting to me towards the end. Like, does Neiman, after he locks his pick down, does he just go after Kyle, who has very limited free agency money anyway? Does he try to get the revenge of losing when he was the 1, 2, and 8? Like, there's so many storylines going into it. But yeah, at least for this week, Kyle versus Jake, Kyle's gonna win.
Kyle is going to win this matchup. But just to kind of harp on what you said, I'm really excited for next year. This year is fun, but it feels like we're building towards something special over the next 2 to 4, maybe 6 years, where I think it's going to be uber competitive,
Yeah.
and there will be no teams that are just undefeated.
I know it's gonna go away from being so lopsided, and that's why it also meant a lot to me to end Kyle's undefeated streak this year, because I really don't think that there's gonna be a team that's gonna be able to stay healthy enough in such a competitive environment to win all 15, now 16 matchups if they keep the same schedule next year in a row. And so
Yeah.
that'll be one thing that I will always have. It'll be exactly like the Miami Dolphins in the NFL, only team to go undefeated and win the championship. That's me. That's Mr. Modest. That's Dragon Slayer. Everybody have a wonderful week. 3 weeks left. Trade deadline is Tuesday at noon. We went through this last year, so I'm going to say it again at noon because I can't set the time to noon for the trade deadline. I remember we all went through it last year, Joel. I was with you Martin Luther King Day last year where there was a trade that was accepted after the deadline. You remember it was an issue. So remember, the trade deadline is noon on Tuesday. Noon on Tuesday, everyone. Not midnight like the app says. Noon on Tuesday, trade deadline.
Noon on Tuesday, trade deadline. You heard it here. You heard it here a couple times.
Anything else, Joel?
No, dude, that's it.
Excellent. See you guys.
Yeah.